How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. My name is Prozzie, and you know what? China has been in the news a lot lately. What with my country taking their people, their country taking my people, the Hong Kong protests going on, the Wuhan whoopsie daisy kind of messing stuff up in the mainland, and I started thinking to myself, I really miss that place. But it's true, there are some aspects about living in mainland China that I do miss, and I thought I'd share them with you here in this video. Now, they might not be relatable to you in any way, they're just sort of things that were around in my life when I was living there, and I thought, you know, let's just share them, because I did make a video when I was leaving China about things that I thought I would miss. I'm not running out of ideas, don't you worry about it. And you can go check that out if you want to click on the top corner of the screen or wait until the video is over. Either way is cool. You may have seen a lot of people complaining about Chinese tourists, how they're a little bit too unruly or maybe rude in public or maybe inconsiderate in public. And I know it's kind of a weird thing to miss, but it took me a while to sort of understand this behavior and what it's all about and why are Chinese people like that? And the way I kind of got to sort of wrap my head around it was sometimes if you get together with like friends in China for dinner, you know, if you actually know each other, you'll find that Chinese people, especially when they get to drinking, are quite rowdy. They're very comfortable with one another. You know, it's kind of like any walls are completely broken down, and it's kind of fun to be able to do whatever you want, to not have to care about social norms or what's acceptable. I mean, within some limits, but it really is like people are drinking and eating and being loud and doing whatever you want, and nobody's gonna say anything. And I know for the rest of the world that's incredibly rude and barbaric, but every so once in a while it is fun to just kind of let go completely and just really enjoy the moment. You just got to be careful, because doing that too much means that you're probably a piece of shit and you might want to reevaluate your life. But I do kind of miss that excitement of, like, you know, walking down the street, you're having dinner and it's just a big party, everyone's having fun, and it's kind of a nice atmosphere. Sometimes that did get quite tiresome over the years. It was something that actually made me want to leave China and come here to Taiwan, where things are completely different. Taiwanese people are very considerate. They're usually very quiet in public spaces. They don't like their children running around all over the place. They discipline their kids in a way that Chinese people don't. They're a lot more quiet when they eat. They're quiet on the trains. You know, it's a lot more just normal here, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. Normal's kind of a hard word to throw into these kind of things, but you kind of get what I mean. It's less barbaric. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain this, right? Like what do you mean, Prozzie? You miss barbarism, you know? And the next thing I really miss about China is the food. The food was amazing. The food's really good here in Taiwan as well, but there are certain things that I could eat in China that I simply can't find here. And maybe Taiwan does have it, I just haven't found it yet. Well, there's a specific dish I really liked. It was just dumplings. It was steamed dumplings. And, you know, I would get like a few longs of those. What do you call that? Like the little basket, the dumpling basket. And it came with a peanut sauce, which I know sounds really weird to eat with dumplings, but it was so good. And a spicy sauce, like a chili spicy sauce. And you mix them together and you dip it. It's so good and so cheap, and I ate that all the time. It was amazing. It's something I miss a lot, and it's something I can't find here in Taiwan. And then, of course, you know, there's the other things that I like. I mean, there's other certain little places in China that I miss, you know, because China's a huge country. It's so big. There's so many different places to explore, and you can find your little corner of that country to really love and appreciate. I especially miss places like Meizhou. My friend, Meizhou's like a Kejia city. Most people there speak Kejia instead of Chinese, like Mandarin Chinese. And my friend lived there, and she's from there, and I spent time with her family during Chinese New Year, and it was just like a really lovely, nice place that I kind of miss. It had a very nice charm to it. It had an old China feel to it. It was one of the very, very few places in China that maintained their culture and maintained the architecture and the art and all that kind of stuff. You will not really find too many old buildings left in China. Most of them were destroyed, and now everything is kind of new, but they kept their old Kejia houses that they used to live in. There's sort of these half, you know, moon-shaped buildings with the mountains in the back and the water in the front, and it was lovely. I really liked that town, and I kind of miss those tiny little places that I used to ride to with my friends. Speaking of friends, I miss them too. You know, of course I miss Seamilk and Vivi and the kids and stuff, but they're in the States now and that doesn't really relate to China anymore. But I still do have a lot of friends, foreigners and Chinese, still living in China. And I miss them a lot more now because of, you know, the whole Wuhan whoopsie daisy going on. You know, it seems like people are having a hard time up in mainland China. A lot of my friends are going through that right now. And I have a friend right now who just, you know, he got married and they just had a beautiful baby boy, and the last thing you want to experience when you're a first-time father is a giant virus epidemic outbreak thing. I can't say too much because YouTube likes to demonetize videos that have that name, the C word that I can't say. So I miss them. Of course, you know, I have a lot of close Chinese friends who help me a lot in China and help me understand the country a little bit more, you know, because a lot of people, you know, they just, and I'm guilty of this. I know I generalize China a lot in my videos, but that's because for the sake of time, I can't, you know, go into too much detail about China, but a lot of people hate on China pretty hardcore, you know, they just kind of, they antagonize the country in a way that makes it just all comes down to zero. Like everything is bad about China because they're just antagonized. It's something to hate. And, you know, to be honest, I had my times in China where I really wasn't hacking it, really wasn't, you know, doing too well. And my Chinese friends came and tried to help me understand, you know, why certain people behave a certain way they are, or why I was feeling a certain way. And it was a great way to break down those cultural barriers to a way that I could still appreciate China. Like, of course, I still do have a lot of problems with mainland China, don't get me wrong, and I much more rather live in Taiwan. But I still don't think it's fair how a lot of people, you know, roll China into one antagonizing bowl, and it's just this low resolution view of the whole country, and you know, I don't think that's very fair. And a lot of my Taiwanese friends agree. You know, of course, they're not huge fans of China, but it's not like they hate the place in its entirety, right? There are certain parts of the country that are really great. Having said all of that, I can't say I miss the country a lot. There are certain aspects, little nitty-pitty things in there that I can pick and choose that I miss. But to be honest, I have a similar lifestyle here in Taiwan, but better. You know, it's less dirty, it's all that. You can go see my China versus Taiwan videos to go into more detail, but I'm loving Taiwan so much. And honestly, if you're thinking about choosing between, I just had someone message me like they were gonna move to China, but they chose to move to Taiwan instead because of my videos. And I would highly recommend giving Taiwan a shot. If you're like dead set on China, give Taiwan a look because you're gonna have probably the experience that you're looking for in your head, but it's gonna be better, it's more livable. And the people, it's a little bit easier to live here. You're not gonna have to go through so much of a hard time. Anyways, without further ado, it is time now to read the top comment from last week's video. Last week's video was about the Wuhan whoopsie daisies and how it affected my life here in Taiwan as a foreigner. It did get demonetized, unfortunately. And the top comment comes from Zhuo Feng, I think, and it says, take one thing for sure, do not trust the Chinese government. And I think that kind of goes without saying. I think that, well, maybe not, because I've seen a lot of YouTubers overly defending the Chinese Communist Party, you know, the government during this whole outbreak. And that's not a very smart idea because they have made some fumbles. They have messed this whole thing up a lot. And you know, you definitely shouldn't trust a government like that. I don't know why I have to tell this to people, but she's right, and that did get like 92 upvotes or something like that. There is another top comment that's in Chinese, and to be honest, I did read a Chinese comment in one of my other videos, and I wasn't reading the Chinese. A lot of people commented, wow, Prozzie, your Chinese is so good, but I really can't take credit for a skill that I don't have. I was reading the pinyin. I can't actually read traditional Chinese. I did learn like a few hundred simplified characters when I was living in China, which is, by the way, nothing. That's just not enough, but it was enough, like I could read a menu and get around. And I was feeling pretty good at myself. It was still somewhat rewarding. And then I moved here to Taiwan where they use traditional characters, and I'm like, fuck, I can't read any of this stuff. So that was really frustrating. But yeah, thank you so much for the comment. Anyways, I gotta get to editing this video because this is the second time I filmed this. I did this in front of a green screen where I destroyed my whole living room, and it kind of looked like this, which is just, It doesn't look very good anyways, just to show you my skill with green screen. Fuck off. Anyways, if you guys have any questions or any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. If you like what you saw here today, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. I also have a Patreon page where I just posted a whole video showing you guys this house. So if you want to check that out, maybe go consider supporting me on Patreon. Other than that, stay positive, keep your stick on the ice, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.